Hey guys, welcome to Flat Top King. Today, it's all about spatulas. You guys have asked, you guys have commented. I think we've done a darn good job of getting every possible spatula available. You guys ready? Stay tuned. You've just got your griddle. You've been griddle cooking for a while. You've accidentally stumbled across my channel. Somebody's recommended something to you. Or you've thought, am I using the right tool for the job? People have said that the spatula we have recommended is out of stock, or it redirects them to another spatula. That sent off an alarm in our head. Then fast forward, we got the Pit Boss. Then all of a sudden that changes everything, right? It's a whole different utensil setup, spatulas included. So we thought, what better way to come to you guys and try to give you a plethora.
That's a big word.
Of options for you guys to choose from. All right, we're going to focus on the stainless steel ones quite a bit, and then I'm going to briefly go over the Pit Boss, things to look out for in the silicone spatula, so you guys can make the best decision possible. We will have some of these featured in the description listed below. Some I highly recommend, and some honestly I'm just not the biggest fan. But when we go over this, there's a bunch of ideas that we're going to give you so you guys can make the best decision possible. You'll probably learn way more about spatulas than what you could ever dream of. I swear by this thing, I have since day one. This brand is by New Star, and this is the one that's given a lot of people trouble when they comment to me.
Is your fly down? Is it? Honey!
XXXXX.
It's not that kind of video. Oh man, that's making the cut in the edits.
All right, you guys are gonna have to bear with me because I really think this is super important when it comes to a spatula because you use it every single time you turn on your flat top, right? So you wanna make the best decision for you. First, let's go over handles. To me, this is a golden standard. Why? Because this is the one that I highly recommend. This is the one that everybody says, or everybody's been purchasing online. And so that's the one we're gonna go with.
You all have actually sold it out multiple times, so it goes in and out of stock.
Yes, and by the comments, you guys can see that it's happening very often. So what we decided to do is go on Amazon and basically purchase other options available to you guys. So when something happens like this, hopefully there's a quick redirect or a quick, hey, Flat Top King, I looked at it, it's out of stock. What else would you recommend? I'm only going to recommend stuff that I would use myself, okay? Why do I like it? First of all, it's rounded edges. We're going to get to that and all this blade material in a second. Second is the handle. The handle naturally stops you coming down. I like the material it's made out of. I like the angle. We're going to get to the angle just a little bit in a second. And fourth, probably the most, all those fourth on the list, the most important part of me is comfort in your hands. Your comfort can be different than my comfort. But when I grab this, it seems like it naturally stops right there. My thumb isn't naturally on the metal. I can hold it right here comfortably. And it's balanced really well. See how it doesn't, see that? That's balance right there, okay? So since we're talking about handles, let's go over here and look at the handles and so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Different handles have different meanings. This is also made by New Star. This is a black edition. Same exact one as my white one. So if you guys see that, perfect substitute, no problems at all, okay? When we're talking about handles, look at the difference. Look how each handle is kind of made differently, right? Like I said, this is the gold standard. So I'm just going to set this one to the side because we don't need to preview this one.
It's the same one except in black.
Same exact one. When we're talking about handles, we're talking about material. Does it fit in the hand? The reason why I mentioned this one, how I can naturally just hold it and my hand doesn't naturally get on the metal. With this one, it's quite different. You see that? It just naturally, for some reason, my thumb and back finger just naturally wants to sit on the metal. When you're cooking, and your spatulas like this, I'll leave my spatulas on my griddle top a ton. What happens is your metal will actually get hot. The heat from here. Oh, jeez.
That's a demonstration.
I thought it was on like it was the last time. All right. I'd have never heard the end of that. So that's the handle. You see how that metal goes through the handle? And you see you have rivets. Those rivets are metal. The metal will build up heat as well. So you might think you're safe, but if this thing gets hot, you're going to get hot around it and you're going to get hot right here. Personally, I have not found a wooden handle yet that I like because of that reason. That does not mean they're not out there. I'm just telling you my experience, okay? So that just gives you an idea of the handle, okay? That's only handle. Second, we've got this texture. The handle feels really good. This spatula feels a little bit more solid than one I'm used to, but we're going to come back to it because of one flaw that I see. There's only one flaw in this whole thing that can make it probably the best one out there. The handle's made of probably pretty much the same material. It's that probably the food safe grade heat resistant plastic, and it's got some texture to it. I actually like the texture a little bit more than the smooth.
Let's see if we can see the texture.
All right. This is the Camp Chef series that came with the griddle when I bought it, okay? When we talk about balance in the handle and stuff like that, you notice how this Camp Chef just automatic, look, I'm not doing anything. Because there's a lot of weight in the hand, there's a lot of weight. It's unevenly distributed, okay? So this would be the one that you would naturally assume would be closer to this. The handle does feel pretty good. It's a little bit wider. For somebody with big hands, I could understand that. I'm pretty normal in the hand department, I think. It just feels different than what I'm used to. It doesn't mean it's bad, but when you're talking about using something every single day, comfort is way up there on the list. So if you had to choose between the two, I'm picking this one all day because of the lightness of it, okay? The handle just seems like it's way aggressive for the light metal. We've got the standard Blackstones, okay? This is very similar to this one. The handle feels like it's really good. It's not really that bad. It's got the stoppage is what I like, and I don't feel like I have to put my hand on the metal to be able to turn it. So these are not that bad at all. Come into these big old mammer jammers. Now, I don't know what their decision was when they made these or what they thought they were flipping, but you could probably flip if you ever needed to jack up your house and you're out of tools, you could probably use one of these. You know, I don't have a lot bad to say about the handle. It's just, we'll go about the overall experience in a second with these things. These to me are just absolute overkill. I think if you're looking for spatulas, I think there's way more options available than these. It's just not, take the handle apart, we'll get to it in a minute. These are just unpractical in my opinion. And then here we go with the Pit Boss. These are heavy as can be. The handle does feel good. It keeps your hand, there's no stoppage, but it does for some reason keep your hand.
It looks like a longer handle.
Off the metal. I think it is a little bit longer. You guys can see that right there.
A bit longer.
Yep. And it's got the little thing right there. I like that because if we're talking about handles, let me show you something real quick. Just because you're flat top or you get one of those magnetic holders that hold your spatulas, mine's got them built into it.
The Pit Boss.
Right, but it doesn't naturally fit. Right? Whereas you get one with the ring and it naturally fits. That might be important to you. Then we're talking about the metal. Now this is where we get down to the nuts and bolts. What creates a spatula? What is the best spatula? Take the idea of a smash burger. Is the only reason why you want a single spatula is to make a smash burger? Or could you get the press? If you've already got a press, then you've already got the ability to do a smash burger. So maybe the idea of having the strongest, beefiest, non-bendable metal spatula isn't important because you've already got that feature, right? So we're trying to kill two birds with one stone. The biggest thing I can say about the metal is very quickly, there's a lot of stuff. The angle is very important. This Dexter is awesome. For you guys interested, it is made in the USA. I know that's important to a lot of people. Okay. I want to like it. I really want to like it for that reason. The angle is just way different. And I'm telling you, you wouldn't think it matters, but it does. What it does is it actually puts your hand more like forward. Like it almost feels like your shoulder's coming up more to flip stuff versus being relaxed because the way the metal naturally grazes the flat top. When I'm using this, it just feels comfortable. The blades, natural. I mean, everything just about it is just fundamentally perfect for me, okay? If we could somehow, I know you're thinking, what if you just bend it? I don't know, I wouldn't really do that. It's so close to being perfect, but you might actually like it. One, it's made in the USA, and two, because you might like that angle. It keeps your hand off the flat top. So if you've ever burned your hand on a flat top, you know that could be important. When you're talking about blade, you're talking about sizes. There's all types of sizes of blades. You guys see the width of that? This one is a lot heavier dutier, okay? It's really, really thick, but you guys can see that you're giving up a lot of space. How important is it for you to have a shovel as a spatula versus something that's more practical? I don't know how much bigger of a spatula I know they make them, trust me. I know they make like one that's massive. I just don't see the point in it. 2, when we're talking about the metal, do you want the ones with holes in them? They make one in the New Star that has the holes in it, and they're rounded holes.
And the New Star is the one that you have been using for the last like 2 years.
It's because that's the ones we had in the Navy. So I mean, it's just all about comfort. The holes in the spatula are completely up to you. I don't know how many films that we have or videos that we've done on the flat top. I don't know if any time ever have I ever used a spatula and thought, man, I need holes in this spatula. I can create 2 spatulas like this, put the food together, tilt it at an angle, and the grease will fall through. Or I move the food over and scrape the grease off. So personally, I do not feel like the holes are a make it or break it for me. Some people might be different. When you're talking about metal, you're talking about flexibility. That's also a reason why I like this one. There's not many times where you actually flip over. Does that make sense? Let's say you got an egg, a burger, or anything. A lot of times you're taking your spatula and you're coming in it on a sideways angle, right? That's why I feel like these are almost, they're just not practical. They just don't bend. This thing is like this thing is built to last. All right, now that we went over that, we're gonna talk about the blade edge. It's just as important as everything else. As you can see, some of these do not have edges. You see how this is beveled at the end? How it's kind of like a sharpened edge? The Blackstone has it, the Camp Chef has it, and the Pit Boss has it. I am not a fan of it. I think it takes I think it's too aggressive for your flat top. These are kind of made to create that idea to where you can get that Maillard reaction, the crust off the flat top. It's built for digging, and I never recommend people digging in their flat top. If it can't come off with this, with a nice, easy, aggressive, flexible turn, then something's going awry in the cooking. There's not a time where I've used this where the crust hasn't come off with a burger. So for these to be sharpened and beveled, I just don't understand the nature of it when considering how much damage can be done to the flat top. Because remember when I'm telling you, and we've got our bench scraper, and I'm saying you want to go up and down, you don't want to start going left and right because you don't want to cut into your flat top. You cut into your flat top, you lose your seasoning, right? So there's a very specific, if you take this and go like this, look how sharp that is. I mean, that's like taking a knife and going straight into it. I'm not a fan of the beveled edges. That's my personal opinion. And last on the blade, we've talked about width, we've talked about length, we talked about material, we talked about holes, no holes. The one thing that I think I'm more critical on than anything is the finished edge on the blade. I've mentioned it several times in my egg videos, and this is no different. We're going to take a Pit Boss, we're going to take this Camp Chef, and we're going to take this Blackstone to show you guys the difference. Okay. I like my whole thing rounded. That's not even flat right there. To show you the difference, I don't know if you can really see that. Let's try it like this. See that? Can you see that? Mm-hmm. All right. The reason why I say that is when you're cooking with something on the flat top and you just happen to change your arm angle, or you're trying to push something, or whatever happens.
You stir your eggs with the corner?
With the rounded edges, right. That is not going to scratch the flat top. Of course, I'm not digging hard either. I mean, I'm sure if you dig hard enough, you're going to do some damage. But it's already rounded for you. So this is the gold standard. If you look at these three, they're all built for the same reason. These are all heavy duties. Even this one right here, although it's smaller, is some serious metal. This is a big spatula. I'm sure it's made for smashing. Same thing with this one, right? It's just a lot of metal. You see how these, even though they're rounded just a hair, I don't know if you can hear that. I mean, that's pretty sharp to be a spatula. Same thing with this one. See how they kind of knock the edge off of it just a hair? I would personally have another reason to stay away from spatulas like that. That is my own personal opinion. But
So for smash burgers, you would...
look, I've done smash burgers with these 2 spatulas right here, right? You put your paper on there, and it's all about working the meat down. You don't have to break a spatula to create a smash burger. You've got 3 ounces of meat. The meat's going to warm up on the griddle. There's no reason why you can't just use 2 standard spatulas. Everybody's recommended to get a meat smasher, right? A bacon press. Well, that kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Put your paper over it, and you're going to work your meat down and use this as the press. I would much rather you buy this for multiple uses as a meat press for your bacon, to get a good sear on a burger, for anything, and buy a spatula like this, than to go ahead and buy like a shovel like this and want to use it for a smash burger, but then all of a sudden it'd be almost impossible to feel comfortable consistently with eggs. I would not even recommend this thing for eggs at all because it's just so big. All right, now that that's all the way, that gives you kind of like a recap. I know it's a lot of information. Last and not least, what would I recommend? What are like my top 3? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We'll have the link in the description below. This is different than my New Star. What'd you do with my New Star?
Over here.
This one will have the link below. I do not know where it came from. There's no sticker on there. I know it came from Amazon. We'll have that link below. This is set up very, 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 very similar to my good one. You guys see that? The handle is just a little bit shorter. The angle is relatively close to the same. And the blade matches almost identically. It does have a hole in it, but the hole to me is useless because I can't even put it on my Pit Boss or anything like that. Now you could tie some shoestring or any type of string around it and create your own loop, which is completely fine. It's got a thumb stop here, but it's not big enough to make a big difference. If this is out of stock, there's no reason why you can't purchase this one and be just as happy. Okay? So we'll put a link on that one. This is Dexter. Once again, the blade length, pretty much the same. It's got the whole rounded edge at the end, okay? The width of the blade is very similar. It might be just a hair wider. I really like the textured grip. However, I have a problem with the angle, but that's only my opinion on the angle. Some people that's never cooked on the flat top before might not ever notice the angle. But for the people that care, I care. It's made in the USA. That's important, especially for me. So this is a outstanding feature right here, okay? The Dexter Basic Turner. We'll have a link in that one. This is a 8" by 3" to give you an idea of how big these spatulas are.
That's the blade is 8" by 3".
Yes. And then last, like I said, the black is just a same one, same alternative. It's just a different color. All right, that kind of sums up the metal spatulas. So that gives you an idea, basically a quick rundown. Handle size, handle material. How does it feel in your hand? Is it too aggressive? Is it too sharp? Things like that to remember. So when it comes to spatulas on the Pit Boss, they say that you can use metal. I personally am going to stick to silicone because I want to see how long the ceramic coated flat top will last. There's no reason to start digging it with metal. That's just my personal opinion. There are different temperatures when it comes to silicone. I just bought this one the other day and I absolutely love it. It's quickly becoming one of my favorites. I love the width of it. It was heated to 428 degrees. I know for a fact my flat top the other day was pushing 450 and I was using it and not a problem at all, okay? When you're talking about smash burgers and stuff, although it is a really thick metal, this is not metal. This is pretty thin. This is all silicone, basically just attached. That's why we come back to our press that we got, because now you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, right? So just use this as your smash burger. Don't worry about bending or breaking a $5, $10 spatula to try to get a smash burger, okay? These are just, I bought this one because this acts as my, so does this one. I used this one the other day as the same thing, as my scraper. You guys know I love my bench scraper. These two are no different. I actually really, really like this one, and I'm gonna try to get more of these.
And this one and this one,
I found them at literally Kroger's.
They're both the Core Kitchen brand.
Yes, I found them at Kroger's, and I mean I have like a whole set of these that I've just went through. So this is probably the star of the show. Okay, I'll definitely send a link to this one if you're in the process of getting spatulas for the griddle, you guys know that this is my all-time favorite.
For a rolled steel griddle.
This is for the rolled steel, yes. This is the silicone version. It's got the smaller edge on the side. You guys can see the difference. What happens is this fits almost exactly like this. I don't know if the angle is the same or not, but you're talking about almost a spitting. I bet it is. It's pretty dang close. First time I've done that. I told you it felt good. Why do I like it? One, the angle fits me perfectly. I tell you about comfort. Two, it's got that thumb slot right there. You don't feel I have your hand going down on the metal, and it just fits good. The handle's a little bit smaller than what I would like, but it fits it fine without having to worry about it. It's not really that much of a difference. See that? It's just skinnier. And third but not least, it just acts just like my dang spatula. There's so many items that I flip right to left. Chicken breasts, steaks, not many things I have to get under. If I do, it's not a problem. Just get under it and flip it. But for eggs, we've already done eggs. We've done hash browns. We've done burgers. That beveled edge right there, it's not sharp. Remember, it's silicone. Gets underneath the crust and flips it over. Gets underneath the hash browns and flip it over. So this right here, I have not lost any sleep. People ask me, are you worried about using silicone? Can you find a good spatula? What are the tools? If there's one I can highly recommend so far, it's been this one. We'll put a link in the description below for the Pit Boss series, okay? Something big like this, I wish I could find this online. I have not been able to. As soon as I do, I'll be able to link to that one below. But on that just gives you a plethora of ideas, right? All right, guys, there you go. I know it's a lot of information. Thanks for staying this long. If you guys have any questions, okay, comments, concerns, what ifs, is there a spatula out there that's dominating the market that I'm just completely unaware of? Whatever it is, we try to respond immediately or as fast as we can. Other than that, that's it. Hope that cools some jets out there, and pick out a spatula and see if you like it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to press that subscribe button, pound the notification button, share it with your friends. I'm out.